Well, hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Wild Garden, and in this video I am merely 20 minutes from where I grew up, so nice to be back on my home patch, although technically I'm in the bordering county of Cambridgeshire, not Lincolnshire where I grew up. And in this video, stick around because I'm going to be turning this current bare piece of ground into a wildlife pond and a wildflower meadow, so I can't wait. Oh, and we're putting a little deck in front of the summer house over the back there, so a really nice little transformation hopefully this will be, if the weather holds out. We've got a lot of rain forecast over the next few days, so it's going to be challenging, I'm not going to lie. And I've even blown the dust off my old little Kubota. I've not used it in a while because I've not been doing too many small back garden projects. Most of the ponds have been in bigger areas where I can get the bobcat in, which no doubt you lot are used to seeing. You lot, sorry, I shouldn't address you in such a way. You guys and girls obviously, and thank you for staying tuned to the channel, guys. Obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and give the video a like when you've watched it if you've enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm going to get the rest of my tools and then we can start thinking about marking out the edge of this pond with a hose pipe and then starting to get some levels and see how we go. So stick around and watch how we turn this bare patch of ground into a mini oasis for wildlife. Well, that's the pond now marked out. As you can see, I've used a sophisticated method of a hose and a pickaxe to draw a line. It's all going to get scuffed out, but yes, a good idea of the size of the pond now. We've gone for a 6 metre by 5.5 metre pond, so a really nice sized pond this is going to be, and very achievable in an average sized back garden. You can see we've done a double line, looks like a tram line over there, which is going to be a newly turfed path. We want to get this thing turfed so it can establish at this time of year as we approach the end of October. Perfect time for getting new grass seed and turf down. Obviously the wildgarden.com online shop, if you guys are looking for any last minute bits of seeding to do, depending on what time of year you watch this, up until end of October is usually ideal. Anyway, so that's going to join onto a deck over there, as I've already mentioned. So that's going to be a sunken deck with the pond coming up to it. Some quite cool stuff we're going to do with that, I think. And the end of the pond is going to go about 18 inches inside this pathway, which is going to look great. So I'm going to get over there now with a digger and start digging out the area that's going to be the new deck, and then I can start going around and marking the edges of this pond and doing a lot more digging. So stay tuned, we'll see what's next. Well, I seem to have spent all of today moving soil from one place to the next, but really good progress. Look at that. Now, that is absolutely mining gold. That is exactly what I want to find. Lots of lovely subsoil. You can see the colour change of that from what I'm stood on now, which was a mix of rubble and bricks and things, which was part of the old farmyard, so to be expected. But yes, some lovely stuff in there now, and I've actually just got down to the water table, so the water just wanting to come in, which is not allowed to yet. We've got to get a liner in it first. However, we're getting there. We are starting to look more like a pond, and I can't wait. So stay tuned, lots more to come yet. Well, as you can see, we've had a drop of rain over the weekend, and we now have a good foot or so of water in the bottom of the pond, which is not ideal. Could have waited till we've got the liner in at least. Anyway, I'm not going to touch that today because we've got a dry day, which is one of the few this week, I believe. So we're going to make the most of the dry weather, get all of the kind of rubbly, stony soil out that we got from the top layer when we were scraping off into, I've just brought the dumper along today, into the dumper and out to the front where we can get rid of it so that we can make way for the deck, which is going there, believe it or not. And we can start building the frame tomorrow, hopefully. So we want to get this bit of soil leveled out as well, because once I build the deck, that's going to limit our access to that part of the garden, which is where a lot of the topsoil is going. So we've got some mounds to level out there, that to get rid of, that to level out and move around. So a lot of soil movement, and then tomorrow we can start thinking about getting the frame in for the deck. So it would appear I've got a new best friend. His name is Rocky, and he's 14 years old, and he's infatuated by something on the side of my trousers. Well, he's very sweet. He's come to help me build this deck frame, so he can't hear very well, but he's a lovely dog, and he's been keeping me company the last few days. Looks as if he's here to stay. I think it's the Velcro. Is it the Velcro?
Either that or your spook or something like that.
It's that or my tea is after. What do you reckon? Is that you? Look, is that you? Good boy. So the pond liner is now here and we've got the deck almost complete. We've got 2 or 3 more holes to dig and posts to put in this frame for the deck. We've got the boards to pick up later. But yes, I'm going to crack on with pumping out with our little pump the water out of this pond before we can get it lined. We've got a bit more digging out to do on that end. And yeah, some final refinements around the edge because we've got a nice bit of stone to use on this one. We're going to make a nice little kind of semi-well dry stone wall effect with some of this monstrous pile of stone, which is absolutely beautiful, lovely, locally sourced Lincolnshire limestone. So yes, very nice stone indeed to be using on this project. So stay tuned and let's see how today goes with battling the water, because the middle of the pond is where the deepest point is at the water level, so, or the water table should we say. So as soon as we get down to that, water starts coming in. So it's going to be a race against time to get the liner in, some subsoil in, some weight back in it, and get the tap on whilst building a wall at the same time. So yes, wish us luck. Got a fair bit of water in the pond again, so I was frantically trying to scoop out as fast as I could to get the pond to where it needs to be depth wise, and as you can see we've been left with this lovely pile of what looks like slurry now, so that to deal with. However, first we need to get this thing lined, so we've got to pump the water out one last time and then work as fast as we can. This is going to be an actual speed, not time lapse honestly, to try and get it fleece lined, fleece, some weight back on the liner to try and push that groundwater out, hopefully so that it doesn't balloon up in the middle, which would be a catastrophic outcome, which is one we obviously don't want to find ourselves facing. So time to get the pump back in one last time, and then it's time to really press on this afternoon. Best bit is we're blessed with some really beautiful weather, but tomorrow is set to be rain most of the day, so we've really got to get this thing done as much as we can today before we even think about putting the planks on the deck and prepping this entire area for seeding and planting as a wildflower meadow, as well as planting the pond and various other bits. So plenty to do. Stick around because we have a lot of stone to go back in this pond. Yeah, it took a fair bit of getting out and sucked up a few bits of gravel, unfortunately, but yes, that's what this pump is designed for. So a bit of declogging, and now we have a hole that has a lot less water in it than it did. However, you can see around the margins just the amount of groundwater running in, so we really are going to be up against it to get this thing fleeced, lined, fleeced and backfilled with the subsoil and the stone, and then get the tap on before the end of the day. We have to reach that point, otherwise we're going to have some more issues. So yes, I'm going to let Craig get out of this hole now and we're going to go and put the liner in. I'm feeling a little bit guilty right now because Craig's currently out there cutting timbers in the rain and I've got a nice big tent over my head. Although I have to keep my feet clean because I'm putting the planks down on the deck and of course I don't want mud all over them. So someone's got to do it, you know what I mean? Anyway, no, we're cracking on nicely. We are putting the planks on this deck, which we're about halfway there now. I'm just going to get them spaced out and then screw them down. More rain has filled up the pond overnight, so really looking good, and has subsided those water levels in the middle where we had the groundwater coming in. So really pleased with that. Here he is.
Hey.
See, he's happy,
Morning.
he's smiling. Yes, it is actually easy enough now, which is supposed to this afternoon. Then we can get in the pond, get all the rest of the rocks down the two sides over there, and then we can subsoil up all the rest, get the beach in at the end, which we've got some fabulous little stones for, which really will tie in nicely with the stonework that we've been putting in the pond. And then we can get the hose back on, and then it's thinking about clearing up all these piles of earth, which there seem to be yes, a continuous pile of, but it'll be worth it in the end. So stay tuned. Let's see how we can finish this thing off with even the most inclement of weathers. Well, it has been raining and raining and raining some more here now, and you can see the pond is looking almost full to the brim. It's just about where I wanted it to be level wise on the deck, so absolutely fantastic. We've just finished off the edges of the pond, as you can see. However, this rain is really causing some issues with the ground conditions. We put the sheeting down last night, last thing, because it was forecast rain today, and I'm glad we did in a way, but we only had so much. So as you can see, we've got some standing water on top of these sheets now. It's starting to puddle up, so it's really going to be potentially a very sticky situation with my rotavator. So yes, I've now got to start thinking about I don't want to start thinking about getting on my hands and knees and planting up this wildlife pond. That's the first step, and then we can start thinking about all the edges. I've still got some subsoil that we've got to get out of here with the digger and the dumper, and then I've got the unenviable task of working with John to try and clear up the mess we've made. So yes, good old November weather here in the UK. This is what the reality is. Anyway, stay tuned and let's see if we can turn this slightly boggy patch of land into something a little more usable. Well, now that we have the logs in, the dragonfly perches, and we've also finished off the cobble beach down the bottom, which is actually a lovely bit of local limestone. We've put some little logs in, you can see some apple logs in just there. It's now time for my favourite part, which is planting, which includes things like these fabulous water soldier, which are going to go in the middle and be a really good little refuge. Great emergent vegetation for things such as your dragonfly nymphs and your damselfly nymphs next year when they emerge from what will be a wonderful habitat for wildlife. Obviously all from the Wild Your Garden online shop, guys, so do check that out if you're looking for some pond plants, depending on what time of year it is that you are watching this video. But yes, so I'm going to go and put some of these in now and then space out the rest of the plants, and then I can get this thing planted. Well, as you can now see, we've got all of the wildlife pond planted, everything in around the margins, all seeded. Obviously, if you're looking for any of the liner, fleece, pond plants guys to make a wildlife pond, then do check out the Wildly Garden online shop and we can help you out there. But yes, we now have the unenviable task of trying to turn this almost swamp-like piece of ground into something presentable. You can see it's just ruts of, we've tried to keep it dry over the last few days with sheets and tins and boards and everything, but yeah, it's not worked too well. So now we've got to try and get it prepped, because on the other side of the garden I've got a few rolls of turf already lined out or laid out to create a little bit of a turf path down to the patio that I'm stood on. So wish us luck. Well, it's the final day here now, guys, in Cambridgeshire, and what about that for a transformation? Honestly, when I turned up yesterday morning, these areas looked a little bit like a quagmire, so I was not expecting to get this finished. Luckily, we had saved a lot of good soil on the site in case of a situation like this, so I'm glad we did. And now I've been able to prep all that area with the help of John, obviously, as you've seen, and get everything seeded. All the wildflowers have been seeded through there, and obviously all the pond margins seeded as well. And we even managed to get this lovely 4-foot wide turf path laid through the middle of the garden, which is going to be kept as a mown path through to the deck. I think we can allow the clients that much turf. There may have been a few little wildflower seeds sprinkled in it when I was seeding the margins, but shh. Anyway, no, it's a really good finish, considering what this was like yesterday. It was horrendous rain on and off all day, and actually we've had rain most of this job, and with the pond filling up with water before I'd even put the liner in, I was really up against it this time. But so glad to see the finish now. The pond is looking perfect just underneath the deck over there. The plants have gone in and everything is ready to kick off in the spring. So really can't wait to come back and do a follow-up video on this. Obviously, you might think, well, it looks a bit bare at the moment. Cut me some slack, guys, it's November. So this is as good as I can do. So it's looking really good though, I think, and really settling in nicely. The water will clear in no time at all. There's obviously been a lot of disturbance with the rain, but that will clear very shortly. So yes, I'm really glad you've been able to watch this video today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, if you have, feel free to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And obviously, if you're in the UK, guys, and you're looking for any wildlife pond products, your pond plants, lilies, oxygenators, depending on what time of year it is when you watch this video, they are of course available on the online shop wildyourgarden.com. And yes, pond liners, obviously, wildflower seed, whole new range of products on there as well, bird boxes, bird feeders. Go check it out. So thank you so much for watching. A huge thanks also to John for his wonderful efforts. In fact, here he is, look. Thank you, John. How do you feel about it? All right?
Yeah, very good.
Good, good. You pleased? I think,
Grand job.
John, I've actually offered him a full-time job. And yeah, I think, well, it's been a brilliant project. Pleasure to work with you, so thank you.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and you're pleased with the result? I mean, I didn't think we'd get to this point yesterday, did you?
Not really, not how it was, no.
Yeah, I mean, when you see, we've still got a bit of clearing up, as you can see here, guys, but yes, absolute thanks to John, so appreciate it. I'm sure John will have loads of fans now on YouTube. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys, and stick around. Lots more to come, and I'll be back next year, won't I?
Hopefully.
100%.
Yeah.
To do a video on the how everything's changing, how it's progressing, and how it's growing. So any last words of wisdom, John?
No, I think you've done a grand job, and been a pleasure to work with you as well.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and coming from a farming background, you'll probably agree with me. Don't undertake any groundworks in November in England.
Yeah, very true.
Tip for the day. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay wild. We'll see you all very soon.